This is how humans were created by aliens. The Forbidden History of the Anunnaki. 14 Tablets of Enki reveals the real origins of humanity. It is believed by many that approximately 445,000 years ago, ancient astronauts from another planet in the cosmos landed on Earth looking for gold. The 14 tablets of Lord Enki, one of the ancient Anunnaki gods, are embellished with details of the history of the Anunnaki. It is also mentioned in the tablets of Lord Enki that how civilization came into existence on Earth. These ancient astronauts landed on one of Earth's seas, and they set up Eridu, home in the faraway. The exploratory mission commenced on Earth turned into a full-fledged mission, where the Anunnaki established operative centers on Earth, the Moon, and even Mars. Gradually, the Anunnaki went short of manpower, so they employed genetic engineering to fashion prehistoric workers, as known as Homo sapiens, humans. The first tablet narrates about the atomic war. What seems to us an atomic war on Earth between the Anunnaki is explained. The evil and catastrophic wind is specified as a radioactive cloud that kills everyone in its path, gods and mankind. Interestingly, it has been said in the tablet that it is the worst thing to happen since the deluge, Great Flood. The Anunnaki's home planet Nibiru is mentioned in the second portion. They seem to think they came to life from what our evolutionists believe as primordial soup. Although it is impossible for us, they believe that they can. It talks about the planet's thick atmosphere and vegetation. The cycles of the planet around the sun with the hot and cold periods is also mentioned. During the cold weather, the planet's inner heat keeps it warm. Conflicts began that ended up in the use of what we consider atomic bombs. It destroyed their planet. Then peace was made and kingship was established for the whole planet, one world government. The third portion of the tablet explains about the attempts of the defeated king to bribe the new king with his knowledge of the gold on Earth and have his status restored. This portion talks about the ending of negotiations. A team was to be sent to Earth to check if there was a large amount of gold present on Earth. If yes, then the defeated king was to be given another opportunity to win the throne of the king. The following tablet has the Anunnaki traveling to Earth. They briefly stopped on Mars for water. Their spacecraft apparently runs on water. Then they proceeded to Earth and touched down here. This part tells of the initial 6 days on Earth of the advanced team of Anunnaki. Plenty of food, water, fish, and animals were observed by the advanced team sent by the Anunnaki. This portion describes the Anunnaki team leader declaring the 7th day as a rest day. Metals were processed from the waters. The day, month, year were given their names. This part of tablet tells about looking for and finding gold, but not in great quantities. The remaining atomic bombs on the defeated king's spacecraft were taken out of the spacecraft and hidden in a cave. They intended to deprive the defeated king of the use of atomic bombs to make a way through the asteroid belt. An Anunnaki team member left Earth to take the first basketfuls of gold to Nibiru. The next tablet starts off with the arrival of the spaceship containing the first basket of gold. Word had received from Earth that the larger deposits of gold were underground. A high-ranking Anunnaki was placed in charge of the Earth operations. He left Nibiru and arrived on Earth. This portion of the tablet has the Anunnaki coming to Earth to see for himself where the gold was supposed to be underground. A plan was made to decide which of his sons will go back to Nibiru and which one will stay and command operations on Earth. This was needed because of the enmity between his 2 sons for the next kingship. In this part, the new king and his 2 sons were drawing lots to see what jobs will they perform. When decisions were announced, the defeated king restated his case for the second wrestling match for the throne. The wrestling match ended with the Anunnaki beating the already once defeated king. When the match ended, the defeated king bit off the penis of the new king and swallowed it. He was tied and bound, while the new king was healing the belly of the defeated king swollen from the semen of the king's penis. It was being decided what to do with the defeated king. The new king's son wanted to kill the defeated king. This portion of the tablet has the new king deciding to place the defeated king, who was expected to die from swallowing the new king's penis, on exile to Mars while he died. The twin sons, Cain and Abel, were shown how to dig water canals and harvest grain, while the other one was taught how to herd sheep and spin wool. At the first harvest there was a celebration, and the 2 twin earthling men made their offerings to the king's 2 sons. A celebration took place. Later, Cain was unhappy that one of the king's sons did not praise him for his effort. Cain and Abel fight because of this, and Abel was killed. This portion of the tablet tells the story of events after the killing of Abel. Cain was exiled. This tablet tells in detail the teaching to the earthling offspring of the king's son. Other teachings to other offspring were also mentioned. The worshipping of the Anunnaki began. This was in the 98th Shar, or 352,800 years since the Anunnaki landed on Earth. This tablet portion tells the story of the end of life of the first earthling male that the king's son had made by Eve. He was born in the 93rd Shar, 334,800. And he died in the 108 Shar, 388,800, making him 54,000 Earth years old when he died. During this time, the Anunnaki and Earthling humans would intermarry. The 9th tablet talks about the marriage of Earthlings and Anunnaki. Due to the heat of the sun, there were hardships on Earth and Mars. One of the king's son's son wanted to marry an Earthling woman. There was an objection about the kingship lineage marrying half-sisters being a custom. The problem with the marriage is the kingship lineage. If the kingship lineage marries an Earthling woman, the king on Nibiru could eventually become an Earthling. The king decreed that if the king's son's male offspring marries an Earthling, he cannot return to Nibiru and his prince status ended. The king's son, that is the commander of Earth, also stated that he and his new wife will not be able to stay in Eden. The king's son, male offspring, marries an Earth woman. 200 of the Igigi from Mars came to attend the wedding. Unbeknownst to the leaders of Eden, the 200 Igigi from Mars had decided to abduct Earthling women to be their wives. After the wedding, they did this deed. The Earth commander banned any teaching or help to the Earthlings. Bathsheba became pregnant after an encounter with the king's son and had a child, the first white-bodied, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Earthling, born in the 110th Shar, or 396,000 Earth years after the arrival of the Anunnaki. There were plagues and starvation on Earth at this time. The 10th tablet tells of the king's son warning Noah of the water disaster to come in a dream. Noah was to build a strong and credible boat to save his family in the coming flood. Noah tricked people into helping him build a sturdy boat. On the 6th day, the navigator arrived with a box of animal DNA. The deluge was a combination of waves and rain. There was heavy raining for days. This all came about by Nibiru's orbit passing close to Earth. This portion of the tablet tells of the Great Flood and the settlement of Noah's boat on the mountain next to Ararat. The Anunnaki come back to Earth after the flood. Upon the Anunnaki returning to Earth after the Great Flood, they see utter devastation. The cries of the Earthlings had become loud, so loud that the Earth commander could not sleep. Nibiru needed more gold from Earth, but Earthlings told the Anunnaki no more gold can be mined since the mines were destroyed. An Anunnaki surveying found gold nuggets laying on the ground after the flood. He also found some of Cain's people had survived. Rebuilding and preparations for new landing pads were done by the Anunnaki. The pyramids were built as landing pads. This tablet starts off by telling us that Nibiru had been damaged by the pulls of Mars and Earth. The atmosphere on Nibiru was damaged as well. They needed gold for repairs. There were black spots on the sun that Nibiru savants accounted for in their orbit calculations. The glaciers were melting, which would cause a great wave to deluge the land. Mars was abandoned, and preparations of Earth and Mars for evacuation were commanded by the king on Nibiru. Every Anunnaki chose to stay or leave Earth. This portion explains some of the confusion created by the marriage between descendants of the king's sons. The underworld is where the dead reside, and the groom's body was retrieved by the bride from there and restored to life. The bride wanted revenge and demanded death of her groom's father-in-law. Her groom's father trapped himself in a room in the pyramid, but made a deal to be exiled instead of facing death. Changes followed the king's visit to Earth. Humans were to live in the cities with the Anunnaki. They were also given a city of their own with their own human king. Arguments over lands and kingship went on for long periods. The son of the king's son who created man went across the ocean and found new lands, where he attracted Igigi and their wives from Mars. This king's son seduced a married woman named Bathsheba. Their offspring had blonde hair and blue eyes for the first time. The spaceship beacon was moved to a new location. Division among the Anunnaki continued. The son of the king's son who was exiled across the ocean had decided to attain immortality. He instructed his people to look for gold, invading his brother's lands, causing anger. There was almost war over this. It had been 3,600 years when the king on Nibiru decided to visit Earth one more time. A grand feast was held. The king and queen rested for days. The two sons and daughter explained the layout of the new gold find and space facility. One son had received a dream visit by the same emissary his brother did, predicting the flood disaster long ago. But the king said he did not send an emissary. They wondered who it was. After the king's visit, lands were reorganized. Humans would be intermixed with the Anunnaki in settlements. The king's bride was caught trying to steal MEs from her former seducee, but her mission failed. The land was reassigned yet again when the king gave lands back to his second son in place of his exiled brother. Civil unrest followed. War eventually came between the two lines of the king's sons. The one who had created humans shouted to the other to surrender. He had weapons of terror. They were unleashed, annihilating the land. Winds blew clouds that killed peoples. The two brothers surveyed the devastation, discussing the meaning of it all. One said the land is now fit for the one who wanted war. The other said he was going west to continue the gold mining mission.